This interview with El Matador Emmanuel Sanchez was recorded on March 21st, 2017. He will be facing Marcos Galvao at Bellator 175 Rampage vs. King Mo 2 on March 31st at the Allstate Arena just outside of Chicago, Illinois. Here's the interview. Steve Jewin, MMA Mania.
All right, Emmanuel, we had to jump over Darian. We are now on Steve Jewin of MMA Mania. Go ahead, Steve.
All right, Emmanuel, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you today?
I'm excellent, and it's very good to talk to you again. It's been a little while, but you've got a really big fight coming up here at Bellator 175 that I'm very intrigued about, because usually former champions, if they want to come back to glory, they go down in weight class, not up in weight class to face a stud like you. So what are your thoughts on Galvao moving up to face you at 145?
I think it's good. You know, obviously the getting down to 135 was just too hard for him now, and you never know. Maybe one day I do the same. Maybe I move back up to lightweight. But for now, I know for sure this division is mine for the taking. I'm the champion in the making. So I just I got to take care of business, and you know what? Prove that I'm the king and the best of this division. So I'll fight whoever, whenever, wherever to prove that I'm the best.
Well, speaking of proving it, you had a great fight at Bellator 170 with Georgi Karakhanyan. That one went to a majority decision. What are your thoughts looking back on that fight?
You know, it stinks, obviously, that point deduction and everything, but I felt in the same boat, you know, that, you know, I'd have all 3 rounds, of course, you know, aside from the fact that, okay, he had my back, but he did no damage to me, you know, he didn't hurt me. He didn't even threaten to choke, you know. So the whole time I'm scrambling, I'm fighting, and I'm looking to finish the fight the whole time. And you see in the first and second round that I had him in the submission or ready for the TKO, and you know, I know that I'm right there. You know what I mean? I'm right there to just go out and have those continue to make amazing performances and continue to, you know, get closer to put these guys away. You know, leave no doubt thing, because all too many times, you know, people can say, "Oh man, the judge, what a robbery," and this and that. And I'm like, well, really, where did he threaten me? Where did he hurt me? All the above, whatever. So, you know, it's just part of learning, and on to the next one.
Well, you mentioned that 1-point deduction, and in the second round, I thought there was a point where he could have been deducted a 0.2 for throwing an illegal up kick, and he only got a warning, and then you got a deduction. So I wondered, where is the even playing field across the board here? Because he's doing one thing to Karakhanyan and a completely different thing to you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, because I do, granted, I do this in training all the time, and I've always known that if a guy's down, obviously you need the body. And that's what I do in training all the time. But because my chest was on his shoulders, I felt his body weight come up. So I'm like, okay, I'm timing this knee, and I'm waiting, and then I just kind of throwing the knee. And even though the knees didn't hit, I still get deducted a point. And obviously you could tell he just wanted out of the fight, you know what I mean? Because those knees didn't land. And they were short ones that weren't that hard. But that's on, me. Obviously that's on my, wrong behalf. So, you know, it's just a part of living and learning. And all I can do is look back on it and think, dang, okay, next time it's going to be even better.
And you know what? For what it's worth, even though that ended up being a 1-point deduction, that was a wild, crazy, exciting second round. And I think that's memorable enough that people are looking forward to your fight here at Bellator 175 and saying, man, I want to see an exciting round like that between him and Galvao.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, you know, it's crazy too when you can put together a highlight of all those scrambles and you know, crazy moves. It's just I guess this is how I fight.
Now you said you think that Galvao is just not going to be able to cut down to bantamweight anymore, so he's coming up because of that. But do you think in moving up to 145 he's still going to be able to compete on a strength and size level with you, or do you think he's going to be a little small?
Well, I know I'm a little taller than him and have a longer reach, but you know, yeah, I train with a lot of other 35ers too that are bigger than me. So I'm like, you never know until they actually, you know, feel someone wrestling wise, striking wise, all that, you know. So, you know, for me, I tell the kids all the time in jiu-jitsu, you know, we all know if size matters, the elephant will be the king of the jungle. So I think it's also a matter of skills and will, and I feel like my will to win outweighs everyone's talents or physical attributes that they have over me. So I've never relied on any physical attributes that I have, because I don't have it. I'm not the biggest or the strongest or the fastest. I just, my desire and will to win, outweighs all my opponents.
And your will to win has given you 4 out of your last 5, and you're always in the mix as far as featherweight title shot, but it seems like it's forever going to be Strauss and Frary. When do you feel like you could finally break through?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised myself that Vital's not getting it, but maybe they know because Vital didn't really beat me, and, that I was robbed, that's why they're making that happen, or who knows, for whatever reason. Like, that's obviously, barn burners of fights every time those guys throw down, so how can anyone complain, I get it, they want different names and faces up there fighting for the title, but when you just get these guys that, throw down every time they fight, I think that's what I guess the public I want to see, or maybe Bellator wants to see for themselves again. But I know for sure, obviously, the winner of either of those two, I'll be ready, or if anything happens to them, I'll be ready. I know they fight next month, so, when that phone call comes, I know I'll be ready, and I know I'll make this my year.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely not complaining about any of the fights that Strauss and Frary have had in the past. All 3 have been great. I'm sure the 4th one will be great too, but as you said, you get to win Galvao here, you can be ready to step up and face the winner of that fight. So if that doesn't come your way, is there anybody else in the featherweight division you're looking at as like, I can solidify my claim to be a contender with a win over this guy?
Perhaps the winner of Daniel Vital and John Teixeira. I know they're fighting next month as well too. So, obviously wanting to branch off in the division, fight with Teixeira instead of a rematch with Vital. But he knows he didn't beat me, and I know I beat him. Everyone knows I beat him. So, but on paper, and on my record, that goes down as a loss. So I would love to get that one back.
How strange was it for you after having won 3 fights where it went to a split decision that Vital ended up being the one to take the split decision? When they said it was going to be a split decision, I was sure your name was going to be read.
Yeah, and I'm like, in my mind too, right as they're about to announce it, it's funny. In my mind, I'm like, oh my God, another split decision. I was like, I'm going to set the record for most split decisions in MMA history. Like, man, damn it. And then when I heard his name, I'm just like, what? And, man, looking back on it, it's like, okay, he got, I think 1 takedown, and then was able to just put him for a second, and then in the 3rd round, Other than that, I felt like I was just hitting this guy at will. I was moving this guy, at will. He wasn't able to hit me, and I was able to do everything I wanted. So, I was taking the risk. I was taking my moves, yet he didn't hurt me. I remember seeing him at the airport limping everywhere, and I didn't have a scratch on me, So it sucks. It is what it is. It's all part of learning. And I know I'm not going to forever live with thinking, oh, man, I had that plan. It's in the past. And I went on and got Georgie, and now I got Marcos, but I know for sure in the future, since this guy's in the division, and we're talking title contenders and, or championship fights, and I know he's there, for sure we got some unfinished business.
Speaking of always learning and growing from fights, I'm sure you're picking up some new techniques at Rufus Sport, and you can't give away any secrets, of course, but what do you feel like you're improving on the most in general?
I think the biggest thing is just, freedom fighting, free flowing is that early on, on the first Bellator deal, I think the public and, the world in general, got to see just, almost just a tough, hard-nosed kind of style that I had. I wouldn't even say style, but, just aggressive and almost looking to want to, every punch that I threw, I want to knock this guy out, I guess. And I honestly don't know what it was. Every time I watch these older fights of mine, I'm like, dang, what was wrong with me? Why am I doing that? And then that caused me to get headbutted and cut, and it just wasn't good. And I knew, I'm like, man, I never want to feel this way again. And that I almost hate watching it. I'm like, man, look at me. That sucks. Because early on in my career, I never had that. I always left my fights without a scratch on me. And I'm like, wow, I'm so pretty. And I want to have a long career, and I want to take no damage, So I've always been like a perfectionist, and I think that's my problem too. The pros and cons to it is that you try to be too perfect. It makes you not want to pull the trigger and take risks. And if you try to be too aggressive, you know, you can get caught up on the wrong end, you know, of a knockout or taking too much punishment. So I guess there's that happy medium right there, and you got to find that balance. So for me, we call it just almost like technical aggression. You know, what I've been working on the most is just being like Gennady Golovkin, you know, Canelo Alvarez. It's just guys that you can come forward, but there's that intelligent pressure of coming forward as opposed to just tape right down in the mouthpiece and throw down. You know, there's ways that you got to find yourself to get out there, take no damage, and still put this guy away.
You know, a lot of fighters will say that too, that they want to get in and get out with no damage. But I think one of the things that really stands out on your record is not whether or not you've avoided any damage, but you've avoided any submissions and any knockouts. The only times you've been finished are by decision.
Yeah. You know, and even in those decisions, you know, the two were a toss-up for mine, and the other I was just outside. So, you know, it's, I know, yeah, you know, and I fought, you know, these guys at the highest level too. So I know, yeah, no, I pride myself on being a strong defensive fighter, is what my coach Stephen says. You know what I mean? Strong defense, you know, get a long career, and then a good, healthy life afterwards. You know what I mean? I want to, you never know, I might want to get married and have kids one day. I don't want to be ugly and beat up and all this and that, you know. Try to model and be in movies or something. You never know, you know.
You know, does that have any influence on the nickname El Matador? Is it because you just want to be pretty out there, or is that just something that somebody came up with along the road for you?
Yeah, you know, I didn't have one at first, and I was just kind of going, and then one day, you know, modern day matadors were the guys who did, you know, fight intelligently, but still coming forward. And my coach Duke Rufus actually gave that to me. There's just one day, you know, you got to be a matador, and this is where I guess the whole this whole thing with De La Hoya comes in, is that it's not, you know, you get all these naysayers, of course, asking me if I'm going to be looking good in fishnets and doing drugs and being a bad defensive player. I'm like, man, you guys are just, wow, just down talking and naysayers. And geez, did you guys forget, like, this guy was an Olympian, this guy was a singer, this guy was a movie, this guy was, you know what I mean, known as one of the greatest boxers of his time, you know what I mean, a real idol for, you know, Mexicans and Mexican Americans and everything. So that's kind of where I envision myself being with mixed martial arts. I'm not trying to be looking good in fishnets, guys, for those who are wondering. It's, for me, it was, you know, the athlete that he was and then everything that he's doing now, you know what I mean? He gives a lot back to the sport of boxing. And so everything that I'm doing in MMA now, and one day I want to give back to the guys on my team right now that are up and coming, you know, up and coming MMA fighters. And then, everyone out there, you know, the young fighters that are, you know, pursuing to get to the highest level and make their dreams come true.
Speaking of those young guys at Rufus Sport, it seems like we're always seeing somebody debut on a Bellator UFC World Series fighting card. There's always somebody new coming out of that camp. Who are the young, hungry bulls in there right now that you think we should really be looking out for?
Man, there's so many right now. Obviously, you know, veterans as well, in Chico Camus, Mike Biggie Rhodes, that are, you know, working their way back up there. But one in particular right now, man, he's just he's pretty amazing, I'm not going to lie. His name's Rafael Stad. He's fighting Rob Emerson in Victory Fighting Championships next month. And we've actually twice now gotten a call for him to potentially get into the UFC, you know, and he's undefeated. He's an NCAA champ, you know, so but he's a mixed martial artist, man. You know, he's not just a wrestler. He's out there submitting guys, knocking guys out, and I'm very excited to see what the future holds for him, because he's a great training partner that I get to train with and learn from, and then also I get to help him and help each other, you know. So this kid's just amazing, so I can't wait to see what the future holds for him.
All right, one last thing before I let you go today, Emmanuel. Everybody knows that CM Punk is a Duke Rufus Sport guy as well, and it's interesting that all these names keep throwing themselves out as guys that want to face CM Punk. I think they maybe looked at that first fight and think, soft target, easy guy to call out. What do you think about that? What do you think about everybody trying to get a piece of CM Punk?
You know, I think it's not only wanting to obviously beat up Punk, you know, say, oh, hey, I want to beat this guy up because who does he think he is, kind of a deal. I think it's also the money fights. I think that's what they're jealous. You know what I mean? Seeing what his cash payout was for the last one, and then his name, how much it has value. I think they want to have the co-main event, pay-per-view style, or main event, or whatever, you know what I mean? they really want to have that. And instead of, down talking and doing all this crap, yet everyone still watches him fight, why don't you just go out and support and then, do your best to try to take some advice from the man, like to get your name up there and value, This guy wrote all of Chael Sonnen's bits. He got himself up there in pro wrestling, So obviously he knows how to promote, market himself, and be a name and move the needle. So if you guys want to be up there, right, so many guys complain, just go out there and entertain. And if you don't got the mouth to do it, then do it with your fists. You know what I mean? You got to have entertaining fights. You got to be a promoter. You got to do everything. Like, what separates you from everyone else? Why do people want to watch you fight, So I'm glad Punk's on our side, and I'm glad he chose us. And it's great because I get to work with him. And as a human being, he's an amazing person. And as a martial artist, he's always eager to learn. And it's always nice being able to work with Punk.
And I loved his post-fight speech, even after he took that beating. I love the fact that he came out there and said, you know what? I said I would do it. I did it. I proved what I wanted to prove to myself, and I gave it my all. I thought that was a great way to go out there and say, you know what? Don't be afraid to try things. Do what you want. Do what you love.
Absolutely.
That's what I see in the Rufus Sport team in general. A lot of guys, they go out there and do what they love. And I know you're going to do that here on March 31st at the Allstate Arena with Marcos Galvao. But before I let you go, Emmanuel, anything else you want to plug?
Just thank you so much for this interview. I really appreciate it. Get my name, my voice heard out there. And just don't forget to tune in next Friday night, March 31st. It's going down. Me against Marcos Galvao. I'm excited. I'm ecstatic. I'm anxious. And I can't wait to go out and put on an amazing performance and get my hand raised.
And we can't wait to see that fight either. So make sure you tune in March 31st, Spike TV, live and free, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. Check your local market, but don't miss the fight. And if you live anywhere near the Allstate Arena, be there to see Emmanuel Sanchez and Marcos Galvao. Thank you, Emmanuel. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.